I'm good to go? Okay, awesome. And how many minutes do I have? Or till what time? To improve their software security. So I am a citizen that is not satisfied with the service she is receiving. And I want to advocate on behalf of all the other Canadian citizens that don't have a voice and don't have the same knowledge that I do. All of us in this room, all of us security professionals, I believe it is part of our job to advocate for others that don't have the same knowledge that we do. It's literally our job to protect them. And so I try to do this in many ways, and one of the ways is hassling the crap out of the Canadian government. And so you'll hear my accent. So at some point I'll say a sentence, and at the end I'll say A. That means that was a question, and the only answer is yes, just so you know. So it is a bit of a journey. And we're going to talk about what you can do to help your own government, no matter where you live, improve their software too. So I'm going to give you a bunch of tools for this. And I'm going to tell you how you could help me with mine. So I asked earlier, but now there's more people. Is anyone in here a Canadian citizen? No. Okay, you. I'm going to get you to sign my petition. Awesome. Thanks, I get one more signature. Yes. I also think that by being on this stage and then the video after, this is going to help me change the government's mind. Also, I'm going to give you a copy of my secure coding guideline. So I have a guideline and a policy. And the guideline, I give to everyone, and it's like pretty with like graphics and blah, blah, blah. And I make people sign up for my newsletter. And the policy is a document that you can read and just email to people, and you don't have to sign up for anything. So I will explain which one's which. But also, this is where I keep all my clouds, because you have to store them somewhere. So you might be thinking, who is this weird lady that kept telling us dad jokes? So I'm Tanya Janca. I'm also known as SheHacksPurple, and this is the mandatory About Me slide. So when I brush my hair, it's pretty good. I am a security advocate at Semgrep. I wear a lot of purple. I wrote 2 books, Alice and Bob Learn, Secure Coding and Application Security. I've worked in tech a long time. I might be older than you think. I have founded some things. I advise 2 startups, and I'm a secure code trainer, and I'm a board member. But anyway, that didn't make it on the slide, and that doesn't matter. That's the boring part. Hopefully you're like, she seems tolerable. I'm willing to sit through this. That is the core message here. All right, let's talk about policy. So I want to talk about policy and why it matters. Because when I was a young, wonderful little dev, I felt policies were really annoying. I felt policies were a bunch of rules that people would kind of give me crap about, but I never knew about. I would be in trouble for something and not know why. I didn't understand that policies could be used effectively, like that a policy one could make sense. I know it's nuts, right? That it could be readable and understandable and not be 100 pages. It could be like a couple pages. I didn't see good policies then. And then one day I got a job as a pen tester where they were too afraid to let me pen test. And so for 9 months, well, they would not let me do my job. I got to write policy, and I learned a lot. Poor Canadian government, they're suffering now. Okay, so why does policy matter? So in my opinion, in secure code for our government applications is risk. It's national risk. So our software that runs our government agencies, if it gets attacked, first of all, we're not going to have any services. Second of all, they're going to get all sorts of private data. Third of all, like all sorts of bad things can happen that's much, much worse than that. And so this is a problem. When we have a secure code policy, it protects our democracy, it protects our privacy, and it actually protects public safety, right? Without a policy, without a thing people have to follow that they can be held accountable to, it's sort of YOLO. We'll just do whatever we want. Every single department will do their own thing, and that is what I'm seeing happening. Right now, software developers are graduating all over the world, and none of them have taken secure coding classes. I have not met a single university or college that teaches secure coding. I have met a couple where they do a bit of web app hacking, which is much better than nothing. But I've met one single one that has a course about application security. But we are teaching a zillion developers every year how to write code that's insecure, and then graduating them off into the world with no security lessons. Vibe coding super not helping. It is super not helping. In my opinion, we are not ready to face the threats that we're currently facing, and we're certainly not ready for the threats that are coming. And like, yeah, vibe coding's not working. See that great spelling there? Oh yeah. Okay, so why is policy important? It offers guidance. It offers clarity. It offers, oh, this is a checklist that I could follow if you actually write it well. It's something that we can say like, hey, listen, I see that your application's not available over HTTPS, or I can switch to HTTP. That's not cool. And then I could point to the policy and be like, see, there's server rule. You're not supposed to do that. It helps us secure our critical infrastructure. And I've had a lot of people say like, oh, software's not really critical infrastructure. Right? It runs everything. Software runs everything. But a thing that I didn't know until I was higher up in the government, I remember they're like, oh, our mission critical list. The number one thing was our organization's website, our departmental website. And it was like the name of our department.gc.ca. And I was like, why is that there? It's just our stupid website. They're like, if our website goes down, I kid you not, the public starts to panic. If a couple government websites went down, we're pretty sure there'd be riots in the street. We're not kidding. Like, we get phone calls if it goes down. People literally panic and lose their minds. It's actually very important that it's very clear the government is in charge and that they can count on us. And if our websites go down, we kid you not, people lose their minds. People call 911. It's very, I know that sounds wild, but it's true. Okay, so the current security landscape in Canada. And see the star? This is according to Tanya and the internet. This is not according to inside sources. So I used to work for the government for 13 and a half years, and I left in February 2018. And I'm not going to tell you things that I know from when I worked there that are covered under non-disclosure agreements. I'm going to tell you about every single thing that I have seen on the internet. And I've given this talk a bunch of times, and I've been on a bunch of podcasts, and I've had people come up to me and be like, you missed this thing. And so I've been adding to this list. Also, no, that's it. Okay, so the current landscape, according to Tanya and the internet. So one, the Canadian Public Service, that's what we call the government, does not have a formal secure coding policy or guideline of any sort. So they have nothing where they're like, you must do this, that I'm aware of. There's no government-wide vulnerability disclosure program, bug bounty, anything like that. That said, there's a limited one with this one tiny group of 5 dudes, including my friend Mike, for CDS, they're called. There's also one for a province called Alberta, and then there's one with Canada Post, the people that send the mail. But all the rest, there's no formal way that's official to submit a bug and tell them about it. And also, there's no safe harbor with any of them, so they can still threaten to sue you. Yay! There's no government-wide education on the topic of software security. And so there's no guidance and there's no education. So guess what they're doing? They're all doing their own thing. And there's limited online guidance from CCCS. So they're the Canadian Centre for Cyber Security. So CCCS. I'll just call them the cybers. Okay, so here's the current guidance. So I'm gonna tell you about their 3 main things, and I'm gonna do that fast, and then we're gonna talk about what we can do. So currently they have something called the Software Security Code of Practice. This is the best guidance they have that is available on the internet about software security, and there's only 4 things that are about software security. And one is, you should use strong authentication. That's it, that's the whole thing. That's one. You should validate your input. It does not clarify what that means, but I 100% agree you should do that. It says you should protect sensitive data. That's not vague at all, is it? And then it also says you should securely store credentials. It gives you no details or instructions on any of these things. There's also another section where it says you should do secure by design with 0 examples, 0 explanations, 0 clarity. So this is the best document we've got. Not mandatory, you don't have to follow it. And it just briefly covers a couple high-level things. So it's not actionable, it's very high level, and it focuses on processes over details. Okay, so now it's downhill. It's gonna get crappier. So we have this one, which is about using third-party components. And basically everything it suggests is, and also you don't have to follow it, you don't have to do it if you don't want to. So that's great. It's not mandatory. It suggests you should do an SBOM, but it does not suggest that you should analyze any of your components to see if they're safe. Everything it suggests is super manual and expensive and doesn't scale. So then this is slightly better, and it's still only about third-party components. It's much more thorough. It's still not mandatory. You don't have to do it. But there's still no scaling or anything that doesn't cost a fortune. Like, I don't have 12 people that I can assign to manually review every single component that I'm going to add in one app. That's not reasonable. All their suggestions are very expensive, but it's better. And then they have this for the public, security considerations for your website. I gave a talk earlier today at the AppSec Village about minimal viable security. This does not pass my test. But it's better than nothing. It's very basic guidance, but it's accurate. It's for the public, so the government does not have to follow it. It's better than nothing, but it's very, very low. It's very, very low. It covers almost nothing. And so that's all they offer for guidance for software, for security, and according to the internet. So maybe they have private things that I don't know about. If you do know about them, I would like you to come talk to me after, but only if you actually know about them. I've had a lot of people come up to me and be like, well, have you tried Googling it? I'm like, no, I never thought of that. I thought I'd give a talk after like not looking anything up. I thought that'd be awesome. So only please come up to me if you actually know things. Okay, so the issue according to me is not that they're not working hard. So I worked in the government. There are a lot of super smart people, and I see them working super hard. They have a lot that they have to do. The issue is that they're not focusing on software, and software runs our country. They're focusing on networks. They're focusing on infrastructure, which is important. Please don't get me wrong. I also want us to protect those things. But I feel that this is a huge, huge part of our attack surface, that they're just like, la, 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 that doesn't exist. And that's not going to work for us. We have 1.3 million tech workers in Canada, according to a couple of websites, so that could be off. But over half of them are software developers. So that's over 500,000 people where we're giving them zero guidance. In university, we're giving them zero guidance when they come to work. That's not good. Okay, so here's their current strategy, according to the government website. So they are going to do, they call it whole of society engagement and agile leadership, which to me means very little. So they want to have the public and the private work together. That sounds nice. They're like, we're going to do cybersecurity certifications, except for it's only IoT stuff for some reason, and there's nothing to do with software in there. They're doing consumer protection stuff, but again, it's only for IoT stuff. And then they're going to do cybersecurity certifications to inform consumers, but again, it's only for smart devices. I don't know why software got missed in this. And they're going to do research and talent development, except for they're only working with one university. Across Canada, they're working with one. So I think we could do better. Okay, so other things that they're doing a lot, but I don't feel they're covering software security. I've like looked all over the internet and I haven't been able to find any. And so when I say I feel they're not doing it, it means I've done searches and I don't know. I would enjoy being proven wrong on this. Again, seriously, if you know something I don't know, please come talk to me. I did have someone point something out called the Cybersecurity Knowledge Framework that was from several years ago that's really hard to find, and it doesn't cover anything to do with software, but it was still like a document I hadn't seen yet, and so that was good. It also took him a few days to find it of internet searches, so that's not really going to help a lot of the public. Okay, so there's a lot of breaches happening with the Canadian government. So CRA is the American version of the IRS. So we all have to give them our tax money. They have extremely personal financial information about every single Canadian. And they have had a lot of attacks over the years. And specifically in 2025, CBC, the Canadian Broadcasting, whatever they're called, they did an investigative journalist piece about how there were 42 material breaches that they hadn't reported. A material breach, for those that don't know, means things are really bad. They only have to report if it's material, which means like the entire organization is quite hurt, or Canadian citizen data has been stolen or breached in some way. And they hid 42. And those are the ones that were uncovered by like a public news organization. How many more do you think there are? There's also a class action lawsuit against them. They lost, I have 4 parents. They lost 2 of my parents' identities on the internet, and I'm very angry about it. Their terms of service are quite abysmal, and I've written a lot of blog posts about it. So if you use their service, which you have to or you'll go to jail, so you have to, they're not responsible for your data because the internet's not safe. I tried talking to them for like 2 years. I tried really hard. like really, really hard, and they just ignored me. And so now I've stepped up my stuff. So the government of Canada as a wider whole is not really doing a lot better than the CRA. There's tons and tons of breaches that are happening literally all the time, and these are the ones that they're willing to tell us about. So they don't have to tell us about every single security incident. They don't have to tell us about every data breach, only if it's material or if there's citizen data involved. So there's a lot more happening that we are unaware of, and this is problematic. I'm unable to comment about things that happened while I worked there, blah, blah. You know how like they'll say in a movie, like, if I told you, then I'd have to kill you? No, if I told you, then I go to jail. It really sucks. Okay, so what have I personally done to try to correct this? So I don't know why, like I worked there forever and then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna quit and then now I'm gonna work for you for free. That's right, I'll show you. Anyway, so I've been volunteering with a group called the ICTC, the Information and Communication Technology Council, since 2018, adding cyber to high school curriculums and primary school curriculums so that we can have some digital literacy. I'm the ethical hacker lesson in our little career textbook. I've arranged for security professionals across Canada to show up at Career Day so little boys and girls knows that's a job that they could have when they grow up. Because I don't know about you, I did not know that was a job when I grew up. I've helped to promote and support funding for something called Cyber Titan, which you have here in this country, and it's called Cyber Patriot, I believe, which is like a hacking thing across the country for high school students. I've guest lectured across the country for free at universities, and thanks to Semgrep purchasing my old company, I made my entire academy of several courses available for free to the public, including secure coding. What do you think happened when I went on CBC and like all these different media channels, like talking about how this isn't happening, and like I wrote blog posts and like did interviews? What do you think happened? Does anyone have guesses? Louder?
They came after you.
He said they came after me. Who else has guesses? Nothing happened. Literally nothing. They have been ignoring me and ignoring me and ignoring me, or writing me letters telling me I can't tell you because security. And I'm like, there's no security reason that you're not using any security headers on your website, and that your cookies are like wide open and I can like look inside. They're right there. And they told me, oh, well, we're doing it a different way. I'm like, well, if you're doing it a different way, then you're doing worse. Anyway, so basically, they're just like, it's been like 3 years now of me hassling them and them ignoring me. And so here are some of the things I've done. So I contacted CRA like many times to tell them that that was not acceptable. I wrote letters to the Prime Minister's office. I wrote a blog, and then I wrote blogs on risky business. I did many different interviews on various media channels, including CBC, which is our like national news thing. I posted on social media. So I actually went to Ottawa multiple times to try to talk to them. And I spoke at this big event where I knew like the CRA team would be there, including their chief information officer. And then he skipped my talk. I'm like, are you kidding? My talk's about you. And so then I cornered him in the hallway politely, because that's what I'm like. It was super politely, and was just like, hey, yo, this is not okay. Like, you're not following your web app policy, and like, you need to do security. And he's like, how would you know? I'm like, I wrote it when I worked for you. And he's like, this conversation's gonna suck, isn't it? I'm like, yes, sir. And like, he's like, well, I'll get back to you. I'm like, yeah, that's what you all say. So what I did was I was like, okay, so I'm just gonna do it for you. So I wrote a secure coding policy, which I'm gonna give you in a few minutes, and was like, here, please have it, just follow this. I wrote a book, it's a bestseller. You should like do the things from the book. Here you go, it's free. And they're like, oh, ignore. So then I worked with my member of parliament, and we did a letter writing campaign. Everyone ignored us. Then he got voted out. It's made me sad because he's awesome. I wrote shared services, the Public Safety Commission. I wrote the Privacy Commissioner. I wrote our Department of Defense. They're all like, goff. I attempted to work with my new member of parliament who got elected in May, and he's ignoring me, but only so far. Don't worry, I'm gonna get him. I have a bunch of people calling Jeff. I wrote like just so many letters, and like physical letters, emails, phone calls, leaving messages, like because that's my good time apparently. I just like am super frustrated that they're just not getting back to me. So I went to Ottawa again because like I have nothing else to do. And literally I was at the Policy Village at besides Ottawa, And they're like, oh, we just wish we could reach the government. So then I walked across the hall to where they had all the booths, and Treasury Board Secretariat, the one that does all the policies for the entire government, was there. I'm like, come across the hall. They're like, oh, we can't leave the booth. So I'm like, Policy Village, come with me. They're like, oh, we can't leave the booth. So I just like went back and forth passaging messages all day. And like, they're just like, oh yeah. And Treasury Board actually told me, oh, it's just really hard to change policy. You know how it is. I'm like, no, I don't, because this is your job. And also I used to work there too. And so I know. There's no excuses. Do your job or don't come to work. Like, anyway, I have strong feels. So they're not doing the thing. So how about the policy? So this QR code will bring you to the gated version where you'd have to join my newsletter, but my newsletter is awesome. But I'm gonna give you the ungated version in a minute. So this is the pretty version with pictures and blah, blah. So it's 9 pages of completely actionable advice. You can put this in any developer's hands and they know what to do. The guidance is agnostic, so it doesn't matter what your stack is. It doesn't matter what cloud you're using. It doesn't matter what language you're using, which framework. It applies to everything. There's no language where it's like it doesn't matter. The QR code and the link. There's the link. So securecodeandguideline.com. I thought that. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh. Just a second. Wait. Watch this. Just a second. Yeah, we should do that. Okay, so there is the QR code so that you have it at the top. And if some people wanted to come up and move the table, that would be really awesome. Because I'm like thinking of how I would do that myself and how I would not do a good job. Okay, you guys are amazing. Thank you. So I also want to talk about what you can do. Thank you. Yeah, these guys deserve a round of applause. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, guys are the best. You get more stickers. Okay, so what can you do personally? Because maybe you don't live in Canada, but you still care that the software that runs your country works, right? You care that your data is private. I'm gonna give you all the links again at the end, don't worry. Wait. So what can you do? So you can contact your officials no matter where you live, and you can tell them, I don't feel like we're doing a law of software security, or do we have a policy that the whole government has to follow? Is it good? What is it based on? You can use my policy as a template to try to push change, because I assure you, your government's not doing something this strict. I have a template letter that, so the QR code in the bottom this time is, and again, I'm in the way. Just a second, I'm gonna move it so that you can see it. Oh my gosh. There we go. Sorry about that. There we go. Okay, you should push for educational reform. If any of you are going to university or college, or you have a daughter or son or whoever that's going to university or college, call them, be like, you're learning software development? Why is there no secure coding course? This is unacceptable that I'm paying $5 gazillion for my kid to go to school and you're not gonna teach them how to do it safely. Think about it this way. Imagine you went to electrical school and you were learning how to be an electrician, and they're like, we're not gonna teach any safety. Houses will just burn down. That's fine. We can't do it because it's too expensive to teach cyber. That's their reason. We can't find any professors. I'm like, yeah, because you offer less than minimum wage. I could be a greeter at Walmart and make more than universities have offered to pay me. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I have some feels. Apply public pressure when people don't get back to you, right? Call them again, call someone else, put it on social media. Use social media to tell everyone how you feel. If I'm the only one making noise, they can totally ignore me. If there's thousands of us making noise, they cannot ignore us. So this is the slide. I would like to find a member of parliament in Canada that will support my petition. And so the petition, just a second, I'll give you the petition link again. But so on the far left is the letter. So this is a letter template that you can use to phone and talk to your member of parliament, or you can just fill out the blanks and mail it to them or email it to them. And then the policy's in the middle, and then the petition's at the end. So none of these are gated. So you just download the PDF and do whatever you want with it. And I hope you make some noise. On top of that, if you're Canadian, I would love it if you would sign my petition, which will be again at the end. I'm just waiting so everyone gets to take their picture. And then, okay, and so then here is just the policy, and so that's nice and big, and so I'm hoping everyone can see it. Okay, maybe I should like put it up where the elephant is. Would that be better? Just a second. There. I'm gonna have to fix these later, but that's fine. Okay, and so, awesome. And then I'm gonna give you all the links at the end too, because I just really want you to have them. Sorry, I'm just waiting for people on their phones because I want to be considerate because I'm Canadian and if we're rude, we get thrown out. Okay, so what did we learn today? So we learned why a security policy actually matters for our government, right? Like without a policy, we have nothing to enforce that we want them to do better. There's no standard to hold them to. We talked about the current security situation in Canada according to me and the internet. We talked about that. We've talked about what I've done to help, and we've talked about what you can do to help, and then a free copy of the policy and some templates. I also have some more resources for you, because I like to give you things. So the first thing are my books. So the policy is based on my new book, The Yellow One, Alice and Bob Learn Secure Coding. So if you write code, the yellow one's for you. If you want to build an application security program, the purple one is for you. I have a free academy. So there's free courses in here. I think we have 11 or something. And we have courses on how to build an application security program, how to do incident response, how to do secure coding, and everything in there is free. Because I really, really want change. I have a free newsletter every month where every single piece of content that I made that is not gated, I just send it to you. And then I also, sometimes there's dad jokes, let's be clear, there's silly memes, there's a lot of stuff. But the point is that if you're like, this is good, I wanna see where this goes, this is an easy way for you to follow my work. And then lastly, I wanna say thank you to all of you because there's 4,000 cool things happening at this conference and you chose this. And so these are all of my zillions of links for you, and I want to say thank you. We have time for questions if anyone has questions, and I also have more stickers. Does anyone have questions? Questions are allowed to be about America. Okay, so this is a great question. He's like, you've been at this for a long time. Are you feeling more hopeful or less hopeful? So I'm feeling more hopeful because as I'm louder and louder, more people are like, hey, that's not okay. And so I also have a bunch of people that are helping me where they're like, oh, I'm gonna call my member of parliament and ask them to support you. Once I have a member of parliament that's willing to support me, I can do something called a House of Commons petition. And if I get 500 signatures, which I know that sounds weird, but I don't think it'll be that hard because we have OWASP chapters across Canada. I know all of them because OWASP is my BFF. And so I know that all of their leaders care just as much, if not more than I do. And so they will work with our community across Canada to get signatures. Then I am allowed to address the government directly. They have to book an appointment with me. I get to fly to Ottawa and they have to listen to my bullshit for 20 minutes. And so I feel like I can make some headway with that. Also, I've spoken to, so I'm from British Columbia, and I got to meet with one of their CISOs for basically jail, and he's gonna adopt my policy, and he's meeting with the rest of the CISOs, and he's like, I'm gonna talk to them and see if you're allowed to come and talk to us about it and see if we can adopt it across British Columbia. British Columbia tends to be the most advanced when it comes to security in Canada, but if they adopt it, I also have contacts in Alberta, and so I'm hoping that a bit at a time, I can just embarrass the public service into taking action. I was hoping that I could just be polite and kind of under, you know what I mean? I was just I'll just be polite, I'm hi, blah, blah, but it would appear that naming and shaming is necessary, not of people, but of departments and inaction. So I am feeling hopeful, especially because conferences like this are starting to book me to speak about it. And then I know each time I'm gonna get more and more supporters. Because it turns out people actually really care, especially when their identities are stolen thanks to CRA. Are there any other questions? Okay, well, I want to thank all of you, and if any of you want to come up, I have actually piles and piles of stickers, and I really appreciate all of your time, and I hope you have a great DEF CON.